on there?
Are we on?
Now? There we go.
Okay.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council of the City of Williston. Today is Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. It is 6 p.m. Mrs. Wright, would you call roll, please?
Mayor Robinson,
Here.
Council President Head,
Here.
Vice President Robinson. Here. Councilmember Cox,
Here.
Councilmember Jones. Here. Councilmember Ross. Here. City Manager Gorman. Here. City Attorney Fred Coberlin.
Here.
Deputy City Manager C.J. Samosky.
Here.
New HR Director Melissa. Here. Council. City Planner Laura Jones. Here. Police Chief Dennis Stroh.
Here.
Airport Manager Denton Siegel.
Here.
And City Clerk Latricia Wright. Here.
Thank you. If everybody would, please join us and stand in prayer and pledge led by the mayor.
Heavenly Father, we come to you thanking you for the blessings you have given us, Lord. We pray that you would just be with us tonight, lead, guide the council and the business of the city. Lord, we pray that you would just be with these young people here in this coming year, Lord. We pray that you would guide them in everything that they do for the FFA, Lord. We pray that you would just be with our police and fire and protect them in their duties. And we pray that you would be with our military men and women, wherever they may be, and bring them back home safely, Lord. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Move on to item 1, additions, deletions, changes, and approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to be noted? No?
Move the agenda as presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, agenda is approved. We'll move on to item 2. This is public participation. This is the first of 2 chances tonight. If someone from the public would like to speak about an item that is not on the agenda, please come to the podium. You'll state your name and city of residence, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hello.
Hi. My name is Jacqueline Ackling. I'm just coming to do an update for the Friends of Cornelius Williams Park, and have a lot of young people in the audience, so I'm hoping I can get them interested in this. Just a quick update, the softball fields and baseball field now at the park has the brown grass down. It's gone completely, thanks to CJ and helpers out there. The fields are completely clear. Yay! They're ready for the replacement phase, however. That's the next thing, to get the bases that are needed. So I've spoken with Coach LeVar Williams from up at Wilson High School. He's the coach there, the coach of the softball team. And he's willing to volunteer to assist me and the group with the process needed to purchase those bases, as well as to try and get the field lined so that the field will be used. So that's what I'm standing in front of the board tonight, to just hopefully share this information with CJ and to find the guidance of how we would find funds needed to purchase those bases. And LeVar, coach at high school, is willing to get information on the purchasing, the prices, the VA purchasing through the school that he does, because he does all the purchasing of the high school equipment and stuff for the school. So I'm hoping to work with CJ and Mr. LeVar Williams from the high school to hopefully get the bases and the lines on the field out there and have those fields ready to be used for spring sports or any events that's coming up. Volunteers also still needed to help with that. That brings us to the next item, which is an upcoming event. The cleaning day will be coming on Saturday from 8 till 11 at the Cornelius Williams Park. Thank you to Ms. Patricia. CJ is working on getting equipment we need as well. Volunteers are committed. Also, Ms. Deborah Jones, Ms. Marguerite Robinson. That's going to be a beautiful day to come out and volunteer. Anyone else that's willing to come out and help with the cleaning up park day. So that will again, that'll be on February 20th from 8 o'clock until 11. Moving on down, the volunteer list is continuing to grow. As you notice, I noticed 2 ladies added on the list. Anyone's welcome to join the committee to continue to help with the park, getting the park up and running again, cleaning it, patrolling it. All of those things are areas that are now growing with people volunteering to do. So it's been like a true blessing that everyone's just stepping out. Officer Mike Rawlins has been a great asset to our committee. He attended our first meeting here on February 10th. It was a short notice for him, but he was able to get there and gave us great input. So we want to thank him for continue supporting us in that area, patrolling the park. I did see a President Police officer out there on Monday, my day to patrol the park. So that's happening, that have someone's eyes always out there, so more eyes are needed. See something, say something. And the final thought, I'll leave with everyone tonight, and the committee has heard it before. We don't know what the future holds, but do know that when we work together for better, we can do great things. When we work together, our voices are heard. When we work together, great things will happen for our children, families, and community. Working together for better things, for Jackie Hassel. Thank you. Any
Thank
questions?
you.
Thank you.
Jackie, so you would say that Saturday from 8 to 11 is the cleanup day?
Yes, sir.
And that would be community service hours if there were any students that needed that?
I think that works. It worked for my daughter when she was in school.
Okay.
So if you guys need community service, definitely have those sheets, and I'm sure someone, Ms. Jones will be happy to sign off for you, because she'll be there.
So do you have any idea how much the cost of the bases are?
Well, right now, Ms. LeVar gave me, I have traveled, because I did some shopping through a sports place called Play Again Sports in Gainesville, and they have temporary bases that cost $30 for 4 bases. And those are the ones that you just put down and you pick up. But he's looking at more of the high school, and I think he said some money from $49 each to 100 and something percent or more. But he's willing to get more information.
Well, not a lot.
Not a lot.
That sounds very reasonable.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
All right, moving on to item 3, proclamation recognizing National FFA Week, February 20th through February 27th, 2021. Mayor Robbins.
Well, I'm glad I didn't forget it, since everybody showed up tonight. Before I do the proclamation here, this is some information here, and if I left out anybody, I apologize, but just wanted to let everybody know that Senior Chapter Advisors, Austin Skipper,
Junior Chapter Advisors, Travis Bergdahl.
Middle School Advisor, Natalie Cooey, the Senior Chapter President, Adam Sistrunk, the Junior Chapter President, Miles Miller, Middle School President, Savannah Gerald, and a big congratulations goes out to the 2020 Middle School Meat Judging State Champions. And also, the 2020 Middle School Parliamentary Procedure State Champions.
I know that's why I hated the motivation.
So, if Adam, Miles, Savannah, is everybody here?
Miles was not able to make it.
Come on down, come down. Adam? Come on.
Mr. Bergdahl.
Miles is not here. Okay, the rest of you? Over here.
Come on forward.
You want Mr. Bergdahl and Ms. Cooey?
Get over here.
Yeah, Mr. Bergdahl.
Get over here, Travis.
Mr. Bergdahl.
Hey, I'm not gonna think this is,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
okay.
Somebody's got to fill this hole in case there's a camera out there.
Yeah, he does some pie chopping
All
in
right.
one place.
Scoot on in, I don't mind.
There you
Come on
go. Thank
in.
you.
Okay, is this good for everybody with a picture? Okay, we'll do the pictures first. I guess we're good to go here now. Okay, this is a proclamation for National FFA Week. Whereas FFA and agricultural education provide a strong foundation for the youth of America and the future of food, fiber, and natural resource systems. And whereas FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success among its members, and whereas agricultural education and FFA ensure a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growing needs in the science, business, and technology of agriculture, And whereas the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve, gives direction and purpose to these students who take an active role in succeeding in agricultural education. And whereas FFA promises citizenship, voluntarism, patriotism, and cooperation. Now therefore, I, Jerry Robinson, Mayor, do hereby officially proclaim and designate February the 20th through February the 27th, 2021 as National FFA Week, and commend this observance to all cities. Signed under my hand and sealed in the council chambers of City Hall on the 16th day of February, 2021. Congratulations. And we can be very proud because we have a long history of FFA in this town right here. They're going way, way, way back, and they bring prominence to the city of Williston. When they become state champions again, they'll bring prominence again to this city, and it's something we all should be proud of. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you. Thank you.
You're all welcome to stay. Don't critique us on our parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to open my mouth. I was hoping you would do it.
Am I back on? Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Item 4, consent agenda, consists of the council minutes from February 2nd, 2021. Approve an expense of up to $92,000 for the installation of primary electric infrastructure into and on the undeveloped properties of the Williston Municipal Airport as budgeted in the 2021 capital improvements budget.
Move the consent agenda as presented.
Got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Move on to item 5, which is old business, staff and board and council updates. We will start with City Manager Gorman.
Hey, good evening, council. Just a couple things. I wanted to just update y'all on our RFP out for residential commercial solid waste collection services. Friday, we have our mandatory pre-proposal conference. That's where all the bidders come in, they ask all the questions, so they can all get the same answer. We've had a bit of interest. We have Waste Pro has picked up plans, Waste Management, GFL Environmental, Jonathan Lewis. So we have 4 bid packages out. So that's exciting for competitive bidding. So anyway, we have a mandatory pre-proposal on Friday. The proposals are all due back on March 26th. So they have to be in the office by 11. They get opened at 2. And then we'll be coming together to make sure everything, you know, all the math is right and everything is correct in the packet. And we'll be making our recommendation at the following council meeting, which I believe would be, it'll be April, no, because it comes back on the 26th, and it'll be the first meeting in April, which is the 6th. And then we're hoping to have everything in line and a nice transition to, it's going to take a little bit of time to transition out with new dumpsters, et cetera, and enter into the contract. So we're hoping to get this wrapped up by summer. We get ready to move forward. So that was one thing. I want to have the honor of introducing Melissa Thompson. She's our HR director. Today was her first day. So we're really happy to have her. And I am out on the following Monday, and CJ will be in charge. Other than that, that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you. CJ?
Yes, we're notified.
You need a clipping like me.
Maybe you just put it on.
on and leave it
I
on.
received an email the other day, from Jerry Warren, who the city had contracted with, through Dennis Davis and, Wright Pierce, doing our wholesale power agreement. And in reviewing some of the files, he had gone back through and noticed that some of the, transmission billing, the Duke Energy billing, is not quite correct. But anyway, so he had been part of this for a period of time. And it basically breaks down to the city will be either receiving a credit, they will either do a refund or credit the account $13,100. We've continued to keep Jerry Warren on to review the city's bill through FMPA and the transmission bill from Duke Energy. He did notice another calculation that was not to our benefit. However, Duke will come back and make the adjustments on that, but it is nowhere near what this is. It's, a couple $100 versus this. We did notice that the electric bill for last month had dropped significantly through FMPA over the Duke rate, so everything's right on hand. It will continue for probably the next quarter or so to keep an eye on those invoices and make sure that even they understand what they're looking at, not just us. But anyway, so that's a little bit of positive news on that. And we should be receiving that rebate as a first filing, so it's definitely done, and we will be getting that rebate.
Perfect.
What was his last name?
Warren, Jerry Warren. And we found out a little interesting tidbit that his wife, back in the day, was the founder of Florida Gas Utilities.
Huh.
They've been dealing with us on, multiple utilities for a period of time.
Okay, thank you. Any other staff have any updates? Is it right? Thompson?
Just that I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to begin working with you guys.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Nope, all right. All right, council updates. We'll start, Mr. Ross, you got anything?
No, sir.
Jones?
I don't have anything either.
Okay, Mayor? No?
No, sir.
No? Oh, no? Wow, okay. I don't think I do it this time either. So, move on to item B, discussion with possible action, request for release of city manager's general pension contribution. Deputy City Manager, CJ.
Okay, so there's been some discussion about Ms. Gorman's retirement, how to go about calculating that. So basically, I passed out a spreadsheet that Jen also helped work through in finance. And what we did is took the 3 years that she had been employed with the city and the dollar amount of those, continued that as an average if she had continued her 5 years and her vesting period. Took that, multiplied that, added the additional 2 years in, and then divided it by 5 to get an average, and then multiplied it by 3 to get what her payout would have been should she continued as a general employee and just dropped out at that point. And then took the average interest for that period, about 2%, and added that to it, and came up with that final payout amount of $3,052.25. In my opinion, and some of the other staff feel that is a reasonable payout for her retirement. Any other way that we did it seemed like it penalized her for moving up in that to the city manager position. So recommended that that amount be paid out. Discuss that with Ms. Gorman, see if she was acceptable to that, and she was.
And that's pretty close to the number we talked about last meeting, right?
Right.
Any, council have any questions on the calculation, how we arrived at the number?
clear to me.
Ms. Norman, do you have any comments on it?
No, I appreciate, CJ taking this, because I didn't want to talk about it, but, during all of this, I just wanted to point out, we've got FRS with fire department, that's their retirement, we've got the, high hazard, which is, well, Tricia's been working with that pension board all this time, but we have a general employee pension board also that has not met in some time. So I don't know if they have to approve this or not as we go forward, that might be something for Fred to answer, but Latricia's gonna try and resurrect that, all the paperwork and find out where we're at with it, and we'll go from there. I just wanna point it out, if they need to approve it, I didn't wanna miss that step, that's all. As a regular pension board, I just wanna make them aware, this is a really weird situation, and just so that everyone knows it's above board, that's all.
No, I agree. I mean, I think we talked about it last meeting, but the last thing we want to do is penalize you for an advancement.
Thank you.
It looks like you left before the 5-year period was up, so.
And just as a member of that board, I think just notifying them would be fine. I don't think we need to hold it up now.
I think we said that the last meeting,
Yeah.
that if we notify them, we didn't have to do any
Right.
specific, just notifying them would be fine.
And Latricia, you said they act as both boards, right? That board you work with now,
No, one is the pension 185, which is the police,
right?
and the other is just the general, which includes Ms. Deborah.
Which is the one I'm talking about.
Okay, that's
They're actually listed on the board up here.
okay. So will you notify, you'll notify them, okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion from council? No, I'd entertain a motion.
Not quite sure what the motion would be. Is it the motion to allow her for us to pay her that so she can withdraw it? Would that be the motion?
I would probably, I mean, if I were gonna make the motion, I would probably just kind of quote it as what's stated here, which says, it's a request for release of city manager's general pension contribution.
Yeah, I would state it just like that. Second the motion.
You stated it just like
I
that?
stated
Is
it
that
just
what you
like
said?
that. Yes, sir.
I heard it.
We have a second
Yes,
of
we
that
did.
stated motion?
Second.
I'm
Okay.
so glad the FFA is not here.
Everyone understand the motion and the second?
I didn't understand the second.
You're kidding, right?
Oh, my.
He's winking at me now.
All right, we got a motion and a second to release the city manager's general pension contribution as is correct. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you. Item C, discussion with possible action, review of city clerk job duties and determine who city clerk reports to. This has my name on it. This is once again coming back for further discussion. I know in your packet we have, a job description that has been modified, and this was on behalf of, the city manager and the city clerk worked together, or at least the city manager worked on this at our request, and the city clerk reviewed it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Just so you know. I took the duties that she had listed on that chronological list that you had before, and then I found other clerk job descriptions for a small town, and I tried to make sure everything was in this, and I gave it to Latricia to double check to make sure she was happy with it. Took the pay that she's at now and fit it into a pay grade that fit our pay classification. And with this one, it's working in cooperation, with me, not me being supervising her, just me working with her. And then, of course, she still reports to council. So, I mean, that's just how, it's all over the place. Different clerks report different ways throughout the whole state, and it just seemed a little better if we were working together with you, but you would do the ultimate oversight and evaluation, and I was able to pick up some information on that going forward too that makes it a little easier. What typically happens is time for evaluation is that's done, and then it goes to the Human Resource Office, collects all of the evaluation, and then gets back with council. that kind of keeps it neutral. Lets HR do their thing, and then the council president would work through HR to make sure everybody's in agreement.
Okay.
So that's what I saw. I mean, that was, I thought was a really nice way of handling it instead of doing everything in public, but,
Well, and I'd much prefer that over the council president having to compile the evaluation, go through all that. Can we go back and do that? No. Okay, we'll, open up for any comments or questions, council?
So all of the charter provisions are covered in here.
the charter needs to be revised. Right. Because the charter still gives duties that overlap everybody else,
Yeah.
that we have department heads and manager.
Right.
But that's gonna take a little time,
Yeah.
so I have to defer further on how to go forward, with as far as ultimate responsibility, but we can't just change it, it has to go through charter review.
Right.
And it's just antiquated.
So, for example, you might be saying that the charter may refer to HR in there somewhere, but yet we know we now have an HR position.
Well,
Is that
no,
the kind of thing you're talking
charter
about?
gives everything through the city clerk, when in fact now we've delegated that to department heads.
Well, that's what I mean.
It even has some of the financial duties,
Sure.
yeah, because our clerk used to do financial,
Yeah.
all the financial.
My point being that the duties are being done by other positions that we may have created.
That's
They
right.
just aren't falling under the city
Right.
clerk any further.
Right.
Okay.
Clean up the charter, good start.
Are we still on C?
Yes, sir.
Well, have we made any kind of determination as to who the city clerk reports to in particular?
In my opinion, the way I read it, and I like the way that it's written out, the first sentence under the job description says, under the general direction of city council and working in cooperation with the city manager. So that means that the city clerk does not report to the city manager, but works closely with them, in cooperation with them. But the city clerk, whoever that may be, reports to the city council as a whole. And we can further clarify that if, depending on what we want to say here today, but I personally feel like it's a little bit impossible for the city clerk to respond to every member of the council. I think that should be, reports directly to the council president, in my opinion, on day-to-day,
I agree.
such as,
I agree.
I'm gonna be out today, or, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is what,
Practical way you could do it.
and that's what the city clerk has been doing.
She has to.
And she has been directed to do to this point, since she took her position. Does anybody have any issues with that or questions?
And no, but I think you're right, I think we need to be a little more specific in that it says just that. I don't know if that's what you were implying, but I think that it may need to say, under the general direction of the city council, through the council president or something. I don't know, it's still very ambiguous.
But if you do that, though, the city council president can't answer for the council with decisions.
That's true, I mean, I'm not saying to make a
The
decision.
city clerk cannot hold the
Right.
city council for answers. Mr. Copeland can correct me if I'm incorrect in that, but the city clerk can't poll the city council for directions, can
I think there are two elements of your statement. Number one, polling and then acting on it. So they can poll, but should not take any action on that, because then that would be acting as a conduit for taking all that information, funneling it, and then taking action on it.
But then if you poll, you're gonna take action on it one way or the other, either yea or nay.
Well, you poll, for example, when I say poll, we often will poll and then bring something to you. So, for example, a resolution I may have an idea that 3 or more of you will approve a resolution, or else it likely wouldn't be before you. Then again, things may change. What I'm saying is that the city clerk should not be calling each individual council member saying, what do you think about this, what do you think about this? And after getting the 5th response saying, well, I'm gonna do what I think the majority of them have, now told me, and it won't come into a public meeting. So that final action shouldn't be taken. For example, I want an increase in, pay. What do you think about it? What do you, and go down the line and say, well, I got 4 out of 1, so I'm going to, just amend my contract and have someone sign off on it, have the president sign off on it. Saying vacation or something like that. The final action shouldn't be taken. If the clerk or the attorney in this case may say, all right, well, I'm gonna bring it to a city council meeting because I think I have a majority of the will of the council.
Okay. Here's my thought, is the city clerk, much like the city manager, reports to the whole council. And if we specify in here anywhere that it's one person that person reports to, I don't want that to kind of become the role that, I mean, we're all gonna evaluate that position.
Right.
That position answers to all of us as their boss. I mean, my opinion is, just in day-to-day, I don't wanna call it operations, but day-to-day processes with the city clerk as far as I'm gonna be out, or I'm gonna come in late, or I need this or that, I mean, I think the clerk, I think they both have to report to the whole council. But it's just not practical to do that on a daily basis for minor things.
And you don't think we need to put it in there, if that's the case?
I'm torn with that. I don't really, because if it's a major issue, then the position needs to talk to everybody.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. And, you know, she could notify everybody she wasn't gonna be here if that, you know, if it came down to it.
Well, but my point was that I mean, city manager doesn't really, do you? I mean, you let everybody know if you're gonna be out tomorrow?
Try to.
Okay. Is it, I mean, we can do that, it's not,
I do it anyway, just to let you know that if you can't reach me.
And- in sick time, I mean, we're talking about a very small piece of all of this. I
Yeah.
mean, we're not hang up on, that's just an easy
Exactly.
example to use.
Normally, Mr. Wright will send an email to you and me as vice president and CC the city manager. So if it's where she's just gonna be out, okay, but if it's major, yeah, I think it would go to the president and the manager, manager and deputy manager, and let them decipher.
And
Go
then
through the
if-
rest of us.
And then if there was a need, you'd have to wait till the next council meeting to bring it before the whole council. I mean, if that's that major, which, that doesn't happen that often.
No.
That doesn't happen that often at all.
I just want to alleviate the problem where, whether it really be the city manager or the city clerk, that somebody on this council comes back at some point and says, well, why wasn't I told that happened? Well, it was emailed to the council president, so I think that's what we need to decide. Does everybody want to be copied on those kind of things?
You can be copied, but you can't answer.
Can't
No,
respond.
I can't
We shouldn't
respond,
answer.
no.
Yeah.
That might be the easiest thing.
I would just say like if it's a day off here and there, just notifying Jackie, CJ, or you, but if it'll be gone a week, let us all know, so that we're there, if we have something we want to talk to her about, we know that she's not there. That makes sense.
Yeah, and we're getting away from those,
Yeah.
what you can put in writing versus what we
Yeah.
kind of expect, and that's the problem before. We just want to make sure it's clear, whatever it is.
I started to say, I almost think we need to memorialize it somehow, even if it just is in the minutes. And whatever decision we make, it doesn't have to necessarily be in here, but if we have consensus that that's what we want it to be, I think it needs to at least be entered into the minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think the same with the evaluation process that we talked about, if going through HR and let that person do the totals and present back to the council what the composition of that is. We may need to memorialize that in the minutes as well, because it's not in here.
If I may, we're formalizing everything now as far as duties. And then you always have your process for making all that happen, and it could change with a new council too. So you saying to this council saying this is what we expect at this time, it would be honored, and then, of course, if that changes, it's always captured in the minutes that you want something different, and the instructions will change on how you want to be notified. So, at this point, we all follow HR policy as far as leave requests, time off, we all have to honor that, we have to be, all timesheets will have your leave requests attached and sent to HR now. So, I'm gonna try and get one city calendar that has nothing but time offs for everybody, so maybe it's accessible, so everybody can go and tap in to see who's here and who's not in the event that you need us. So I'm gonna try that once before, it did work, we're gonna try that again. And that would help you all be able to go on a calendar for the city and see who's there and who's not.
Yes.
Then maybe that'll make you feel a little better about time off. That's all right.
And then let me just clarify. Normally, if I'm sick, I text Justin, council president, CJ, and city manager, all on the group text. If I'm gonna request vacation time off, I include the entire council members. That way they all know that I'm out on vacation for a day or two, or something like that. That's what I do presently.
Okay, which is basically what the city manager does as well.
Right.
The city,
This should both be.
the council president basically has to sign the time off approval sheets, but other than that, that's what's happening.
My question is a group text as good as a group email? Because the emails get saved. The text may or may, it's not accessible really unless you put it somewhere.
Well, I certainly understand that, but I would tell you, as far as contacting me,
Yeah,
that's
obviously.
a lot more, user-friendly and faster response, or for me to have knowledge of something, so I can see both sides of that as well.
Okay, as long as y'all are okay with that.
So we got several things going on. First, we have the job description, which we need to decide if we approve. My only question on that is, we haven't added or done anything here as far as any of these requirements or qualifications that are gonna create any exceptions for us, right? I mean, everything we have in there was already in there, right? And our current city clerk qualifies based on all those things?
Actually, the qualifications, I made sure she could still meet. So that's 4 years of responsible administrative experience in the clerk's office, and she's been working with Fran for some time. And 2 years at management or supervisory level, I think she did that when she was working through Fran. So even though it's calling for a degree, you can get some equivalent experience and training too. So I felt comfortable with that. I put in here they have to obtain International Institute of Municipal Clerk, CMC designation, within a specified time frame, and I believe you gave her that upon hire. Didn't you talk about her getting certified as a clerk?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so that was nothing new.
Down below it says within 5 years. So.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah, and it takes some time to do that. There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of classes involved, so I felt like if Latricia had a problem with it, she'd be telling her, so.
I felt good about it. I just want to make sure and point that out. I mean, last thing we'll do is write something
Yeah, me too.
that put us in
Right.
violation of it right out of the gate. So,
Okay.
okay. So as far as the job description, any other questions?
Are the special events and still in here? I didn't see them if they were.
It was in the other one.
It was on the other one, but I
It
don't think
was.
it's on this one. This one's a totally different format.
So that definitely needs to be in there for anything that I do.
Coordinated activities with other city officials?
No, we'll put it in there. It's just
We need to get
paragraph.
that
I'll
in
back
there.
I'll get it in there.
When I was the acting city manager, we did add that back to her job duties.
Right. We did. It was the one thing we told her she could keep other than the clerk's job.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not appearing in this two-page document.
We'll put it back in there. If you want to approve it subject to, we'll put that wording in. And I also realized you have MIT for buildings and vehicles and all that you work with the insurance was not in there. So you didn't catch either of them. We both missed that one.
So that'll go under the non-charter related job duties.
Yes.
Okay, so we have options to either approve it subject to those changes, or we can ask to bring it back.
Ready for a motion?
I move that we approve, subject to the changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I second the motion.
Excuse me.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the job description for the city clerk, subject to the changes we discussed. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you for the work on the job description. Now,
Yeah.
on the determining who the city clerk reports to, are we clear on that? As far as the direction that we've given the city clerk? Ms. Wright, you feel comfortable with that? That you report to the,
Repeat it one more time, so I make sure I have it correct.
okay. Per the charter and the job description, you report to the entire city council, but you have the ability to report miscellaneous sick time and things like that to the council president directly. But any other larger items or full vacation time, you, as a courtesy, would please email the entire council. Okay. Any other discussion on those issues? All right, move on to item 6, new business. Item A is resolution 2021-04, a resolution of the city of Williston, Levy County, Florida, appointing Richard Morondo to the city of Williston Planning and Zoning Commission for a term ending March 1st, 2024. City Planner Laura Jones.
Yes, sir, we are filling up our planning and zoning commission. And, so this will leave us with one empty chair. Mr. Miranda is in the audience if you'd like to ask him any questions, but I think he'll be a great fit.
There he is.
He is here.
I'm here.
Anybody have any questions? If so, we'll bring him up to the podium and make him sweat a little. Without running him off now, we don't.
I know you won't, no, we told. He didn't sign on the dotted line, did he?
Oh, yes, he did, right there.
I know it's in there. How long have you been in Williston?
Since December of 2017.
Okay.
I move resolution 2021-04 as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2021-04. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Welcome.
Welcome,
Thank you for serving.
yes.
All right. New business item B, contract award for collection services. City Manager Gorman.
Yes, sir. As you know, we went out to get an RFQ for our collection services. And we did get a good response. Seeing that is not my expertise, we got Stephen Bloom, Tremaine, Easy and Priscilla Linton as well as Birdie to review all of this, and they deal with it all the time. We had some specific ranking criteria. They looked at it and they did rank all the proposals with Valley Collection Services having the highest score. So, and again, this is for collection of all utility billing accounts, airport lease and rental billing accounts, and all other city accounts receivable invoices that are 90+ days. So, we got that back and forth, so we're not doing write-offs. We're going to actually make an attempt to collect our debt. With this company, they are doing a 15% on top of what is owed that will go to them, so that we get 100% back of what is being billed. But we're going to be bringing you back a fee schedule with that in it, so that we can show that we've adopted that officially as the way that we are working with this contract. We want to make sure that 15% is allowable. And it's been approved by you guys by resolution, so that's going to come at the next meeting. While we, and along with the contract and the resolution that we work with them. I just wanted to give you the general information who we received it from and what we're doing going forward, and that, and thank Infomark and Verdi, of course, for all their hard work that they put into reviewing and ranking these companies. So we feel like we're right on the right track. So we want to move forward. I had on the recommended action motion to approve the contract, but you don't have it yet. So I'm sorry about that. Once we get it and review it, we'll be, putting it through Fred to make sure it's a good contract, and we'll attach a resolution and bring it back to you. But I attached all of the ranking fees so you could see it in your packet, and they did rank the highest with BCS getting the award. If you're okay with that, we'd like to move forward.
Any questions or comments?
Are we allowed to add the percentage to the bill?
Once you approve that resolution, you will.
I mean, the law allows us to do that. I do.
Yes.
It's terrific. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great job.
Okay, anything else on that topic?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll see that back soon.
Is those the only three we have?
That's the three that submitted to the RFQ that we put out for, this is collection of unpaid debt. We didn't have a collection service for bad debt. People that didn't pay their utility bills were getting written off. So we've got a collection agency. That's what this is.
I don't believe I understand. Have we got RFPs back from collection service?
He thinks it's the garbage, I believe.
Yeah, I'm talking about garbage.
No, sir, this is garbage.
This is
This
a
is a collection company for collecting bad debt money. This is collecting unpaid water bills, leases. This has nothing to do with our waste
But not
management.
garbage pickup.
No, sir, not all. This was a request for qualification for collection services.
Okay.
Okay?
So in the past, this bad debt, we've just written it off and lost it.
Well, for a while we have. It's
We're
not
carrying
enough.
it, so we're gonna hire a company to chase it.
That's fair.
Okay. Anybody else?
Got a hand out here.
I'm sorry. Please, come to the podium and tell us who you are.
I'm Joel Penny. So what if there's no debt to, like, what person's gone and you can't get a hold of them and they can't pay the debt back? I mean, do y'all still have to pay that 15%?
No.
If the debt's not collected?
No. No.
I'll let our finance people answer that, Jen.
Jen.
Says no.
No, they will take every opportunity to find the person. They will do everything they can. If this person is deceased, they will go and attempt to find an estate or something like that. At the end of the day, if they can't find anybody to get the money from, then no, they will not charge the city.
Okay.
It is
Thank you.
only on collective debt.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Okay, so no action on that today. Move on to item C, discussion with possible action, job description for information technology manager, IT manager. Ms. Gorman?
Yes, sir. This has been something I've been working on for some time. I know that you've seen a lot of job descriptions. It's mainly trying to fix existing positions and get them in place. You did approve the HR, so that was new. We're bringing you one more, and that's for IT services. I think, as you know, we've been outsourcing all of our IT services since Fran left. IT is becoming a thing, of the future more than ever now, because we're looking at broadband, we're getting grant opportunities for broadband, and I can't talk the talk. I need a real expert that's here all the time. And when we started analyzing this, and I have to thank Aaron Mills for helping me, because he is the expert, and we've looked at everything that the city does for information technology, right down to our website, our emails, and our phone service, and our telephone service, and we pay a lot of fees out. And some of these can be captured if we had an in-house employee that could do a lot of this. So what I'm trying to do is stop the bleeding, you know that. And every time I turn around, there's a lot of money going out for IT, and I just need, and even our two-way radio systems is part of that. All of these things combined, that's a lot of work to manage this. We really need an IT full-time. So I searched around a little bit to try and find exactly all the information needs to be in a job description, because I'm not the expert, so I've had to tap in a lot from different places. I think we came up with a pretty good job description and a pay range that's fair. But having somebody on site is gonna make a big difference, and what you're gonna see is you're gonna see some short-term savings immediately, and then you're gonna see some long-term. But you're also gonna see some services that we're gonna be able to provide our citizens with broadband. The state's throwing stuff out every day because they're trying, all of our students are getting, in-home training, they're homeschooling. People are working from home now, the world has changed. And we need to be part of that by making sure that they get the opportunity to have internet at their house. So that's what the state's zooming in on, mainly the low income. But we can take that as a start and start building from that. Where that goes, we're gonna take it a little step at a time, but we believe eventually we'd like to be able to provide that service here in Williston. So this position is gonna help with that, short-term and long-term, visions for our technology needs for the future. So I guess what I'm asking you to do is, or I ask you to do is take a look at this. Hopefully you can feel comfortable that we've done the best we can with this IT job description. It's competitive, but also, I put the pay grade at a 16, this is a tech position, not just anybody can do it. And if you look at our website, Latricia worked with Laura and Aaron and got our website completely redone, and people are still depending on website access. So we're always in need of having Aaron here and IT possibilities here. So what's going to happen is, I got with Stephen and we tried to look at those budgeted items that can be saved, that we can save on, and we feel like it's either going to be, I feel that we're either going to save a little bit over what we're currently paying out. So I'd like to make that request that you let us go forward and advertise this position. And I have to advertise in-house 5 days and go out. But once we fill this, you can look at it again at the end of the budget year or in a year, and if you decide it's just too much, we can go back to outsourcing. But we really right now need in-house service. So that's why I'm bringing this to you. Is I feel like we'll save some money in the long run. And this is for airport, fire, police, and city hall. This is for everybody.
Okay. Questions? Comments?
And so the salary would be split between those four.
Yeah, yes, we'll definitely, just like we do everything else, we
Right.
have to
Figure out the
apply it to
percentage.
where, yes.
Keep track of the hours. My other question is, this particular function
Yes.
of online meetings, I don't see it in there. If it's there, it's vague to me.
You talking about in the job description?
Yes, ma'am. And I know we definitely require him to be here.
Attend council meetings, overseeing virtual meetings that include internet streaming.
Help me, what page?
On your thing on the bottom, it says 20.
20, okay.
Yeah, it's like the second to the last.
Okay.
And we'll save money.
Second to the last.
That's the plan. If we don't, we'll circle those wagons again and look at it, but
Oh, at the top,
the
second to last.
best I can, of everything that I've seen, I feel like, yes, there's gonna be a savings. It's gonna be a little bit in the beginning, and then long term, it's gonna be a lot, because IT is the thing of the future, regardless. We have to having somebody at our fingertips is very important.
But to move us from DSL up to broadband is a huge
It is.
jump.
And again, if we can get, one of the things we're looking at, we're gonna have a virtual meeting here, it's on my calendar somewhere, but, we're gonna be having a virtual meeting with Florida League, and they're gonna have different cities from all over the country that's gotten in broadband, they're gonna talk about how they did it. And we're gonna try and apply that, because it's all grant related. I mean, I get a grant every day, it seems like I get notified, that that's one of the big things that they're trying to do is reach out to all of these home sites, especially the low income, these kids that don't have internet access and these people that are trying to work from home. That's a start. If we get that, that will get us at least a foundation to start with. You need to ask me more questions. Aaron can probably answer more than I. Am I doing okay? Because it is technical, I'm just not your girl, but I tried to do my homework the best I can, so.
Yeah, well, usually I just reading through all that. So, questions that I had was the financial impact, that sounds like hopefully nothing negative at this point. The other was, this is a full-time position with benefits? And what are the hours
No.
involved, as needed, or?
I have got a job description, I'll have to get back with you on the rest, that depends on who's hired. We have to advertise in-house 5 days, and then I'll have a decision made shortly after that, and bring something back to you, but right now it is, naturally, all of our positions come with benefits, but we have a couple that, we have some options going forward, so I'll have to weigh them out and see where we're at, and I'll bring it back to you. Or I'll let you know, let's put it that way, you have to approve, because once you approve this job description, it's on us to hire, but, I'm thinking probably not if this works out the way I'm hoping. I don't wanna say that I have somebody in mind, I'm just saying there's several options that we have, but I'd rather not answer that.
And I see it's obviously not a 9-to-5 job. I mean, here he says tonight, but.
Well,
Or on weekends half the time.
it's 40
It
plus.
could be a 9-to-5 job, but it could also be
Yeah.
very extended hours if
Mhm.
something's down and needs to be worked on.
And it's salaried, so it's not
Right,
hourly.
that's what I mean.
And
Yeah.
already, I know that he's here sometimes on weekends and
Mhm.
late nights and
Right.
trying to get things, fixed. We have a lot going on, let's just put it that way.
We're not gonna have a problem with overtime there, are we?
With what? Oh, no, it's salary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't wanna do that.
Well, I've
Thank you.
personally felt better recently about our situation, but I would feel better with this, I think. I think it needs to be a full-time position.
I agree.
And I can tell you right now, every office has a, we have a screen, we have a tower, and eventually we'll go mainframe. That's gonna be a savings in the long run. Hopefully, not everybody has a tower, we're working off a mainframe, something goes down, you replace your monitor. It's not like you have to replace the whole computer, so that's one example of savings down the line, once we get that going. We can,
I know cell phones, I know you can save money on cell phones.
Cell
Like
phone,
ridiculous.
Sunshine, the 1-800-SUNSHINE number, that's kind of becoming a thing of the past. We can start working on that a little bit, of getting that changed. There's a lot going on, and finding the person that is knowledgeable about all of this is so critical
It is.
for us to save money, so.
So are you asking us today to approve the job description?
Yes, and the pay grade, so that we can get it put into the human resource,
So we're-
process and get this in the pay plan, as a approved position in the city of Williston.
And then you can go ahead and advertise.
Then I can advertise, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm asking for a motion.
I would entertain a motion.
You would? Okay, I'll entertain you.
That sounds fun.
Always entertaining. So we have a motion and a second to approve the job description and pay grade as presented for IT manager. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you
Motion passes.
very much.
Thank you. Item 7 is the second chance for public participation. If you'd like to speak about something, you'll have 5 minutes. If you'll come up to the podium, state your name, city residence, you have 5 minutes. We're gonna start the clock this time.
All right. That's
Maybe.
definitely happening again. I was just setting up because I didn't remember writing down exactly that we would go ahead and start ordering the bases for those fields out there. I talked to a few people outside and interested in donating. So with
Oh, wow.
donations, and that's the key thing is the process of getting those bases ordered.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to know that
That's why
what's the next step? What's the next step to
Yeah,
getting those bases
Those
ordered?
are the good people to talk to.
Yeah. I track some people down, so I just wanted to know, I didn't.
Well, maybe we make checks too, though. That's the problem.
Well, that's the issue that we have right this minute is
Because there's not a
who are they giving money to and who's gonna order them?
Right.
You don't have your,
I would have to ask Vicky on that part, because I know I wouldn't be ordering, I can get Mr. Barr and they can get together and do that for us. But that was one of the things that we didn't make the donations out to, and I don't know that money happened. I'm just trying to get some guidance to those.
So, would it be appropriate to make a donation to the city of Williston? Or should we, no, you're saying no, okay.
No.
You can't do that and designate it? No, okay, and they're not a 501c3 yet,
That's it, we're working on.
so I don't know what to do about that. Just pay your cash, is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Meet up with you later.
Yeah, because they, like I said, I'm excited about.
I'll see y'all Saturday, okay.
Saturday
I'm getting
morning.
Mr. Lamar to get
Somebody-
information from the school that he uses and.
I don't know what direction to give you, but if you were to gather up some funds and bought bases,
If you get the funds, let him order them.
But I'm hoping that the city can also contribute as well.
I don't think we'll need to. I
That's
think
what
we'll be
I'm
able to
trying
raise
to
the
find out.
funds. I think we'll be able to raise the funds, and,
I just need to guide.
the only reason you need the 501c3 is to give people the tax exemption form so that they can write it off on their taxes. So you are allowed to raise funds for a fundraiser, without having the 501c3. So I would just start a fundraiser and order it. You know, is that okay with you, CJ? Just order it themselves?
but at this point, the funds that are gonna be donated are gonna have to be donated to her personally.
Right.
Well, I mean, people want to, and I do my money well, I mean, I can handle money.
Oh, yeah.
But she's she's the president of a group, of a legitimate group. It just doesn't have a 501c3.
I know, but we can't make a check out to a group that doesn't have a bank account.
Oh, you're talking about with the
Or a
city needs to
501c3.
contribute?
Yeah, because I know we won't have enough, I mean, but I just wanna have financial people that are saying.
So we just need to give her cash.
You know, I know, and, because I wanna go ahead, if we can, and go ahead and get them ordered, and vote them through. I just need to know, and give the answer back to people on, if they wanna make donations. I don't wanna have to hold cash. I wanna go ahead and order them, and then let them know that they have been ordered, so then they see it, they're there.
Can you open a checking account at a bank
I don't think they'll
under
let
that committee name?
They'll want minutes.
I don't think right now.
Yeah.
So we have that area being worked on, we have been working on that for the group. So this kind of helped me.
In order to open a bank account, you do need a 501c3.
And they want the minutes, and they want everything to say who the signers are.
Exactly, who's the officers, who's the agent.
So again, they can't donate to the city of Williston, so they're gonna be donating to you for use and
You just get the coach to order it.
until you have, an organization actually put together. I don't know what other option we have there.
Well, if you had the information,
With the basis, will that be the first?
if you had the information of where you wanna order it, and the people who was gonna make a contribution, those people could order the bases and give the bases to you.
Like in the city, just write a check to them.
Yeah, that's.
You can't.
We can't.
There's no place for basis to be ordered for
The city
park.
could buy bases.
So the city, that's
Parks
This
and
is a whole different
The Parks and Recreation
situation
Department.
though than what you just asked
That's
about.
right.
What you asked about was people donating money to the
right.
park. They can't donate to the city, they donate to you
No, no,
personally, and you can go buy some bases, and then you can get our approval to put them in, or our help to put them in, is what I
Well,
think.
my thing was at the beginning was letting CJ know that we were ready for a basis.
Right.
So like I said, when people pulled me over and said, I wanna donate for basis.
I don't,
My thing is, how do we tie those two together?
right, and I'm not trying to approach it negatively, we talked about
No,
this
no, no.
before, there's just gonna be certain parameters we gotta work within.
Right.
And even when you have your organization formed, we'll have to stay within those parameters. But right now, if we got the information you were gonna get, or we went and got it and saw how much the bases cost, sure, CJ could bring it to us and we could decide, do we wanna buy bases for
That's
this
what-
park?
That's what I need to know.
But if you're gonna collect money or fundraise for money to buy bases, then you're gonna have to get the money and buy the bases, and then we can go forward, is my
Right,
opinion.
that
But
first,
that's two different things.
that first direction was way wrong, when
Okay.
people pulled me aside and said, okay, I wanna donate money for bases.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking, when you have that situation, because I'm back at the thing I presented earlier, that
Okay.
we're ready for phase 2 of the field. The fields are clear now, the bases are next.
Okay.
And when those people ask me that, I just wanna know what information we get back, as opposed to saying, I'll just give you money. I know I'm not going, I'm researching on where to get the bases from, willing to work hard to do fundraisers to do the bases. But I just kinda wanna make sure I'm on the same page. The first example was what I presented, and that's where I am, but that's like a second thing.
Then I would say, if I were in your shoes and somebody came up to me and asked that, I would say, we're getting there, we're not ready yet for you to give donations, because you would just have to give it to me personally. So, why you don't wanna turn away money, that's up to you, you can do what you wanna do with it, somebody wants to hand you money. It's gonna have to be made either a check personally to you or cash to you, not to the city, not to any organization, because you haven't formed one. So I would say our input, my input, or involvement going back would be, if you wanna get information about how much the bases cost, then we can look at, can the city provide the bases?
That's it.
Have you thought about, asking the softball coach who the manufacturer is that does those bases? Write a letter to the company. Because I've read, you know, where their companies do that stuff for kids' programs, and they do a donation. So that's an avenue that you might wanna,
How many steps do you need?
One is a baseball field and there's a softball
You
field.
need at least 2 steps.
I mean, again, not to get too complicated, but we're gonna go back down that road of, I agree, but you don't own the park. So you can write and ask for somebody to donate something to you, and then they say, well, where are you putting it? Is it on, oh, well, I don't own it, it's just city property, so it gets muddy, and this is what we said from day one, it's gonna get muddy, because we own it, we own the property, but we have a group that's benefiting it and going, and we want them to do everything they can there. It just gets a little gray as to what you can do.
Coming back to the city and those experts to do it, to say, this was brought to me, where do I go from here? And that was the next step. I was just trying to make sure that I'm still following that same road and avenue that our committee started with.
She could bring a pending order for 2 sets of bases from a company and present it to CJ. He could present it to us to see if we had any money in Parks and Rec to pay for it. And if somebody wants to donate money,
Which
you
is-
can use that to do your 501c3.
Yeah, it's kinda where we left the first conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, it's on this one.
I'm sorry, I misspoke before, we do not need a 501c3 to receive funds. We only need to be recognized by the state as a corporation, a small corporation, an LLC basically.
Mhm.
So overall, I'm hearing that I will take the information that I have, contact with Mr. LeVar from the high school, get that information, present that information to CJ. And that will be the next step of the process. Yes, so that
But-
was definitely.
Yeah, and to wrap it up, as you're gonna do these things, this is what you're gonna run into, until you get your organization, and that's what I refer to, however you title it, if it's a nonprofit or whatever. Once you have that, then people can write a check to that, but until then, if somebody wants to donate $100 to put in a nice flower bed, they're gonna have to hand you $100.
Thank you, because like I said, that's, I need to know that I'm not just brushing people off, but I need to have that answer in order to be able to address it. Because it continues to, come there, and I just need to understand and know what to do.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. I appreciate that. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, thank you. All right, anyone else for public participation?
anyone on the GoToMeeting like to speak up, unmute your mic.
No? Okay. Item 8, announcements. Mr. Ross, anything?
I'm just curious about the old apartment up behind Peso's pawn shop up there. Has anything been done about that? It looks like it's just sitting there waiting to fall on somebody. We've talked about it in the past, Mr. Orman, do you know?
Well, as you know, my conversations with Mr. Peso are getting nowhere. No matter how hard I reached out, I can't seem to get any cooperation in any way with him, so. He's not the only, building that is of concern, there's others in town. I'm gonna be working on bringing you the 1997 abatement code. And what this does is, it's not really meant for existing business owners unless somebody complains that there's something hazardous happening on the inside. It's mainly for abandoned buildings for safety. And what it will do is, and I've got to do a little bit more homework on it, but what it will do is, if there's an obvious problem like this building you're talking about, it's got a hole in the roof, it will give us something to go by to put him on notice that he has a certain amount of time to either fix it or take it down. And again, that's also for abandoned buildings in areas throughout town that may be a threat to kids while they're walking to school, or there's just many reasons why we shouldn't have abandoned buildings because they're dangerous. But I've used this code before with flooded homes that were in disrepair and could not be repaired anymore. And it works well. As long as everybody understands that we're not going after people in existing businesses, it's mainly to deal with abating and dealing with abandoned structures that are of danger. So I'll be probably sending that out pretty soon. It's on my list. So that y'all can look at it and you get a feel for it and understand what it is. But it's adopted under the Uniform Building Code. It was adopted in '97, and a lot of municipalities use it. It's just a very good code. It gives you like a couple pages of reasons for you to get an inspection and to get the building owner to move forward. We can't just let these things take the chance of somebody getting hurt or it collapsing and hurting a neighbor's property or something. So you'll be seeing that. I'll be bringing that to you.
Currently, that building's out of compliance with being fine.
It absolutely is. At one time, we started out with trying to get a grant through the CRA to go and do some facade work on it to try and get it cleaned up. And it wasn't until then that we realized there was a hole in the roof. And since then, it's gotten worse. And it's also encroaching on Tractor Supply property. So I'm not sure what they're doing from a private standpoint, one or the other. So I think we'll take this path and see if that will help a little bit. He's not declared his intentions. He won't discuss any of that with us. So
There's new for sale signs on it.
but when you ask him how much he wants for it, he tells you it's none of your business. So I don't know what that means. I just know that we've tried everything. And then again, it's not just for him. I'm not singling that out. Even though he owns quite a few of them, there's others in town that I think are a problem. So just so you know, that's an option I'm going to be bringing to you. And if you're not comfortable with it, we'll go somewhere else. But that's really a good opportunity to send an inspector in and say, hey, we've got some real danger happening here, and we need to get the owner involved.
But
to
with
try to get right.
with the apartment and the staircase that Mr. Ross was talking
Yeah,
about, don't they violate current codes? that
Well,
we
it's
already have?
encroaching now, and it's very dangerous, for
And-
sure.
And it's encroaching because it's leaning?
It's encroaching because it's on part of that property. And I think they've reached out to try and negotiate too, and he hasn't.
I don't know how it could be on the other property, because
If
there's
you
an
look at the-
alleyway in between the two.
No, it doesn't show that on the property appraiser. Look on the property appraiser, you'll see it.
Always been there.
Now, understand, when you look at the maps on property appraiser, it's usually off a little bit, but not a lot. And it's quite an encroachment, and they recognized this when Blue Rock bought that property, that there was a problem there. And they reached out. Now,
Are there
they
any
didn't-
survey markers on that end of the property?
I don't know if there's or not.
I mean, obviously.
But we can we'll make an attempt again to work with Mr. Peso to see where he's at with it, but it is definitely a danger, and we need to deal with that, so.
Well, if it's a danger, it's got to be in the code here that
It's got to already be
for
there.
fire and safety here, if the fire department chief says that it is a danger, if it's a safety danger or whatever to the people or whatnot, it is in the code.
Right.
It needs something to be done.
Now.
Not just talk about it, not bring back the abatement. This needs to be done, put him on notice, either take it down or do something
At
with
least
it.
that portion of it, even if it was just the staircase
Okay,
and the apartment that's leaning.
we'll get with our fire inspector and our building inspector, and we'll get code out, and we'll figure out what we do with
This
that.
needs to be, this needs to be
Or a code
done
enforcement
immediately.
person.
I
I
agree.
was looking to see if Wayne was still here, but he's.
He is, he's
Is
here.
he there? He's ignoring me. I'm
That's
looking, as hard as I can.
That's a broad definition of maintenance, but it might fall under your maintenance code. We'll look at it.
Okay, thank you.
We'll take care of it. Thank you.
Mr. Ross, any more announcements?
No, sir.
Mr. Jones?
I just wanna know about the gun show. I mean, did we get it satisfied?
I'll defer to Laura.
Yeah, they have done everything we asked them to. They had an inspection today for the building. They just have a couple tweaks to make sure that the entrances are safe for ADA and their restrooms and I think we're having the fire inspection tomorrow. So they've given us their application, their insurance, and we're on target for them to start their gun show on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh.
No pun intended, right?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Mayor, anything?
Did we ever do anything about that stop sign at Winn-Dixie?
Nope.
I have an
One
email
time I
that
looked, it
said,
wasn't-
you know, I called him twice on it, and he says, I took care of it, but I think what's happened is, what we're seeing is probably in the right of way. How long it would take DOT, I don't know, we might wanna go and look at it, CJ, and see if we can at least hack down the weeds.
Hack down some limbs, yeah.
Because he said he took care of it, and I'm going, so.
No,
it hasn't been touched.
No.
Okay.
He must have had the wrong right of way.
Well,
Or the wrong
It-
area,
or the
wrong
wrong
stop sign.
sign.
Cause it hasn't been touched. The part I went back, after I talked to you the other day, I went back and looked at it to make sure that we were looking at the same thing, and it looks exactly like the same picture I took.
And I
a
emailed
month
him
and a half
again,
ago.
and he went, I told you, I did it, I was okay, something's wrong, so.
Maybe he's looking at the wrong stop sign
I
or
think
something.
he's saying I mowed up to the right of way lines, well, I'm thinking, I'll contact him and ask him what he's done.
I mean, there's a tree growing over the stop sign.
Yes, there is.
And not to mention all the litter and the garbage that's there too. I can show you pictures after the meeting.
Okay, we'll look.
Okay, Ms. Robinson, anything else?
That's it.
Scott? All right, I don't have anything.
Tricia
You got
does.
something?
Yes. Just a reminder, on February the 24th, we're having an ethics class. I hope everybody signed up for it. I signed up, the 2 people that asked me to sign them up. And for the ones that would like to come up here, we are showing it in the community room.
I cannot do it on the 24th. Take my name off the list. Sorry.
And I can't do the morning session. How do you recover the morning session?
I'll have to let her know that you cannot do the morning session.
I mean, if
That
they
way she can sign
got it
up.
recorded, I would be glad to listen to it some other place, but,
That's what I had to do the last one, they'll send you a link and you
oh,
can
terrific.
watch it.
I mean, I could be here, if you would sign me up for the afternoon session.
You can get a link and I can look at it.
That's what I mean. That's what I
Another
mean for the
time.
morning session.
Well, I'll talk to you about it.
Now, remember, we have new board members that we need to really reach out to, so Laura's gonna do that with her boards. This is mandatory. So if you can't take it at home, I thought you could take it home and then they do it here if you can't get in there. Okay, got it.
Mr. Fuller,
Sean,
show
just wanted to ask the question, how often is that ethics course required?
Annually.
We check it every year.
Every year.
Laws change, sunshine laws change.
If you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you.
And one more
I
thing.
wouldn't like to, but I will.
And I hope everybody received my email that I'll be out on the 18th and the 19th of this month.
Okay,
I'll put it on my calendar.
Yeah.
I
I didn't get a second.
email.
I got an email.
Oh, this vacation days, not sick days.
Yeah, vacation
Yeah,
days.
you email that,
I emailed
Right.
everybody. Just want to make sure everybody did receive it.
yes, thank you. Anybody else on staff got any announcements? All right, now I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I heard that we adjourned.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.
That was very good.